The NaviPro IT Break, 15 entertaining minutes with our experts on hot topics. They're designed to help you keep up to date on the latest IT trends.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this episode 47 of our IT Break. My name is Pierre Tocci. I'm your host for this IT Break, Senior Consultant, IT Transformation Strategy at NaviPro. And today my guest is Giovanni Mistretta, Sales Specialist for Metallic, a product of Commvault. Good morning, Giovanni.
Morning, Pierre.
Giovanni, you chose the topic today of backup and recovery as a service in the cloud, so through cloud. To me, backup are trivial. Recovery is trivial. We've lived COVID for the last year, home computing, telework. What are the challenges now?
Honestly, Pierre, these are conversations that we've had for quite some time. With the advent of the virus, home computing has increased the risk that customers are experiencing. The footprint that was previously covered in local area networks with people coming into the office were somewhat contained. Now, with all of us working remotely, it's only spread the footprint that customers now have to protect, whether that's O365 information, endpoint information, or the data center itself. It's spread out tremendously over the last 16 months. And the IT professionals are now forced to deal with protecting that data wherever it resides.
Yeah, we used to be delimited to from where we were working. We're working at the office. We're doing stuff on the network, on protected servers, not going beyond the boundaries. Now that's all changed with COVID. Overnight, a year and a half ago, March 12th or so, we were told stay home.
Yeah.
Okay. That must have put a big burden on IT staff to make sure that we backed up stuff, right? Yeah. So how did you help out?
So it's one of those things where we've been talking to customers, Commvault, Metallic, NaviPro have been talking to our customers throughout the last 5 years, where IT staff has been forced to do more with less, and the virus only exacerbated that issue. So now, as you said, customers had endpoints and O365 data that was protected inside the data center that's now spread out throughout a geographical region, whether it's locally within a province or across the country. And what that does is it increases the risk of cyber criminals getting access to the data. And what we're aiming to do is offer Metallic, which is Commvault's software as a service division, to help ease the burden for IT admin so that they can take the areas that are the biggest risk to them and make it easier for them to work, meaning they can manage the day-to-day. However, Commvault Metallic will manage all of the infrastructure, will ensure that their backups are running, and give them peace of mind to ensure the recoverability. As you said earlier, the backup necessarily is trivial. However, in my opinion, the recovery is the paramount concern. We need to ensure that our customers, should something happen, we need to ensure that our customers can recover their data. And because Metallic is Commvault's technology as a service, we really help ensure that recoverability.
Yeah, that is a topic that is at the forefront right now. Bad actors are out there. They're just following the money. That's what they do, right? Follow the money. It's not a matter if it will happen, it's when it will happen. So how do we make sure that at least we have a predictable path of recovery with Metallic?
So that's a valid question. Quite honestly, many of the conversations we're having with our customers are disaster recovery plans and planning for what happens when, right? So what Metallic offers is peace of mind, as I said, because the backups are immutable and they are air-gapped from the source data, meaning should something happen where the tenant, whether it's O365, Dynamics 365, our newest product offering from Metallic, should something happen in the local tenant, we have an air-gapped recoverable copy of the data no matter what, ensuring that customers can get their data back. And when I say it's air-gapped, it means there's a true gap between the tenant and where Metallic stores the data to ensure recoverability. At the end of the day, we need to ensure our customers can get their data back when something happens. And Metallic does that across the board, whether it's for standard workloads, meaning virtual machines on premises or in the cloud, databases or file servers on premise or in the cloud, or SaaS applications, as I've pointed out. Metallic ensures recoverability.
I learned recently through our sales rep internally that a lot of customers are migrating to 365 because of COVID, because of all the good reasons. And Office 365 does not provide you very efficient protection and backup recovery. Is this so?
It is. Quite honestly, the relationship that Commvault Metallic has with Microsoft is very close. However, the shared responsibility model that any cloud provider has puts the onus of data responsibility and recoverability on the customer. So with O365 specifically, there's a finite capability for retaining information, and it's not a true backup. It's retention and replication. So should something happen where there's access to the tenant, the source data, the encrypted or bad data, corrupted data will be replicated multiple times. So as we say, it's bad in, bad out, right? What Metallic offers is that gap. So between the source data and the backup, there's a gap. Should something happen, Metallic has AI to monitor the backups and see if there's any anomalous activity. And should something like that happen, we alert our IT admins to let them know what's happening, where it's happening, so they can actually isolate the information, whether it's a ransomware or a corrupted data set. They can isolate and they can act to ensure, again, that their backups are safe, they're clean, and they're ensuring that recoverability of their data sets.
So basically what you're telling me is that through AI, Metallic looks out for those people that are trying to encrypt or backup, because that's the game, really. Encrypt the backup so you don't get it back.
Absolutely. Whether it's, we use what we call honeypot files in the backup sets across our suite. So should one of those files get touched, it's an automatic alert to our customers saying someone's in the backup set and giving them a notification as to where, what, how, when, why. Pierre, 85% of cyber threats, ransomware, and corruptions are coming from the edge, whether it's endpoints or through emails, as you well know. So we need to ensure that in those backup sets, we give our customers some type of detection mechanism should something happen, that they can actually act on that information. And Metallic does that.
Yeah, because obviously, if hackers, what they do right at the moment, they ask you for ransom to get your backup, but then other people go further. They threat you to sell your data, to publish your data. So can they publish the data? If, let's say, they access the backups, could they publish the data?
In the very minute case that someone gets into the backup set within Commvault or Metallic, and they get access to the backup data, they'll be looking at absolute nothing. They'll be looking at ones and zeros. So not only is Metallic ISO 27001 2013 certified, Type 2 SOC 2, Type 2 SOC 3 certified, we also use Commvault's IP as far as our encryption mechanisms and keys to ensure that should someone ever get access, it could be myself, I could get access somehow, I'm not smart enough, but should I somehow get access to the backups, I would have absolutely no idea what I'm looking at. So that's another mechanism where we ensure the integrity of the backup data itself. So if someone were to get access there, they would have absolutely no way of knowing what they're looking at, because they would have no access to the Commvault decryption capabilities, because they are our own IP.
Okay. Tell me, let's talk about our IT staff. Obviously, we need means for them to make their lives easier. Not only backup staff, admin that do backups, but security people. How does Metallic change or ease their life as admins?
So this is the primary value proposition for Metallic. Because it's as a service, we take a lot of the burden off of IT professionals. Quite honestly, over the past 5 to 10 years, the IT staff has been looked at as a cost-cutting mechanism for CFOs across
Yeah,
the board.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
the IT admin are asked to do more and more with less. What Metallic enables is to take a lot of the day-to-day management that they would have to run themselves, whether it's managing the data center, setting up compute, storage, infrastructure. We take all of that off of their plate. So these admin can simply click, it's really click button and run installs and managing reports and outputs alerts that our software will give, so that they can focus on revenue generating activities for the organization. And ultimately, that's what Metallic enables. There is no CapEx for CIOs and CTOs. There's no CapEx needed because Metallic is as a service. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on computer storage locally. However, we do enable capability to back up locally to the data center for fastest RPO and RTO. You know,
Yeah.
it's highly flexible here.
But even if you do that, I would assume that your local backed up data is all encrypted and protected by AI, as you mentioned.
Absolutely. No matter where we send the backup copy, we leverage AES 256 data encryption at rest for data at rest and at in flight. So when it's stored, it's encrypted. When it's in flight, it's encrypted. No matter where it lands. However, for customers looking to keep a copy locally, they can use somewhat inexpensive storage to ensure they have the fastest RPO and RTO,
Yeah.
and then send secondary copy to the cloud.
Yeah. Um, when we talk backup, there's always architecting. Well, as I understand, you need to architect your schemas, your schemas, how you're going to back up, the type of technology you're going to back up, the type of encryptions, and so forth. And when you go cloud, I would assume that you don't need to provide any volumes or architecting your volumes, your size, your capacity, stuff like that.
So there's a couple of different. That's a very good question. There's a couple of different offerings that Metallic has for software as a service applications, whether it's Salesforce, uh, Microsoft Office 365, Dynamics 365. Metallic offers all inclusive for both storage and retention. So customers have no need to worry about sizing for storage or retention. We offer that as part of the base capability. For our hybrid cloud offerings, customers have flexibility, as I was just saying. They have flexibility to store data locally and then send secondary to the cloud of their choice. So for that, we work with our customers to figure out what tier they're looking to send that secondary copy, whether it's to the hot or cool tier, and we can send that to Metallic Metallic Cloud Storage, which is white labeled Azure, or they could leverage their own AWS or Azure tenant. Again, it's true flexibility for customers, and we found that customers have really picked up on this because we see adoption across the board. Many customers choose an all inclusive setup, and then others, because they have a long standing relationship, especially in the enterprise, they'll choose to use their own tenants just simply because whether it be a cost factor or an area where they're used to using one cloud provider.
That's a good area. One of the dangers and risk of going cloud is to be stuck with your provider. So in this situation, is it easy or feasible to change tenant? I'm backing up on AWS through Metallic. I want to go Azure. How does that work? Because of all contract issues or, all the good reasons.
Yeah, quite honestly, with Metallic, we enable hybrid cloud adoption. So
Okay.
customers can send copies of their data to either AWS or Azure right now, and we are absolutely looking at other cloud providers for customers. Ultimately, again, we want to give our customers flexibility. We don't want to force in vendor lock. However, customers have taken advantage of the fact that they can go direct to cloud, or again, one of the primary differentiators that Metallic has over other software as a service vendors is that ability to keep a copy locally in the data center. Again, fastest RPO, fastest RTO is going to be out of that local data set closest to the source data. and that's one thing that Metallic enables. However, we can work to AWS or Azure depending upon what the customer is looking for.
Yeah. So, as a closing argument, I'm sure you would agree with me. It's not a matter if; it's a matter of when you're going to need to restore everything without viruses, if it happens.
That's right. And when that time comes, Metallic will ensure that your backups are recoverable, and we can send that wherever you'd like. So again, this is not just cloud. This is locally in the data center and in the cloud. It's the power of and with Commvault Metallic.
Absolutely. That was a very interesting conversation. Giovanni, thank you very much.
Pierre, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. Folks, this was IT Break 47. All our previous breaks are available on our hub of content at hub.novipro.com. Many more to come. Thank you again for joining us today. Thank you again, Giovanni. And hopefully, you'll be in our audience again for a next podcast. Thank you again.
You want access to a range of cutting-edge information? Go to our online content area at hub.novipro.com.